Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw, and I'm here with a familiar face. She's been with us a number of times, although not in this format. Elizabeth Craybill, who's president of CIE Tours, which is most know as an Irish specialist, but has tours of Great Britain, Iceland, other parts of Europe. We'll go back and review that in a second because you really have expanded, and that's what we've talked about in previous interviews. But of course, in this interview, we're going to talk a little bit about, obviously, the crisis and how CIE Tours is dealing with it. And you're going to find out all about that and more on Insider Travel Report. Now, first of all, Elizabeth, how are you? Where are you?
I am doing very well. I am in New York City, and
the center of all things, right?
I'm here in the epicenter, the American epicenter, at least the epicenter for now. I'm sure it'll move somewhere else at some point. But no, we're doing quite well. Things have stabilized here, but we're all safe at home, and I'm pleased to say that, like every company that has been in an area where offices have been closed, we've made a very smooth transition. Our staff is safe at home. We've had people very little impact as far as the personal impact on our families and employees. So we are just trying to keep everybody safe, and so far, so good.
Yeah, that's great. And have you had to restructure your operations a bit? What have you been doing to address that?
Well, I think like a lot of companies, when this crisis hit immediately in March, everything was brand new and every day was very different. And now that we're a couple of months into it, not that it can't start changing again tomorrow, but once travel restrictions were a little more understood, yes, we've changed our operations and our focus really. Our focus, like many companies, had to shift very, very quickly to dealing with customer service 24/7. We just had to deal with trying to make sure that our clients, our travel agents, have all the information that they needed up to the minute. So our focus has clearly shifted from selling and operating tours, which is what we were just getting ready to do around St. Patrick's Day. That's
in fact, a year ago, I was with your team over in that St. Patrick's Day parade trip.
Well, we are planning to get that back for next year, but this year, it just under the wire, it did get canceled, as you know. So the Irish government did wisely, I think, decide to forego the St. Patrick's celebration just because that was at the beginning of the travel restrictions. But back to our focus. So really what we have shifted to is putting all of our priority and our focus from selling and operating tours, and we've shifted it over to customer outreach, rebooking, rescheduling, working with the airlines on our customers' behalf, dismantling upcoming departures. So while that's sad for us to do, we're really used to sending people on the vacations of their dreams to Ireland, especially Americans who've been dreaming of Ireland forever. And unfortunately, instead of sending them on the vacation of their dreams, we're helping them to postpone the vacation of their dreams. But that has been all of our resource focus for now. And our operations teams over in Ireland and in the UK are really working with suppliers to figure out how to dismantle current tours. And we have canceled through June. We anticipate that July and others will, are possibly going to follow suit. But in general, we're taking it on a rolling basis to make sure we can give all of our clients who are on more pressing departure dates all the attention that they need.
Now, are you finding that most people are rebooking and trying to go for a later date this year or into next year, or are some asking for refunds?
Well, actually, it's been very interesting. We're tracking kind of the trends of where people are falling based on the terms of their booking, their insurance policies. Basically, we are working with our agents to pull all tools to bear on whatever we can do. But what we have found is that on our group side, almost 88% of our group booking passengers are moving to a future tour. Of those, most of them are on 2021. There are a few groups who are sticking with 2020. But right now, I think what we're finding, not only with groups, but with individual bookings that come through our contact center as well, is that most people, I think back in March, there was more optimism that this was just a 2-month or a 3-month delay. I think as people have followed the destinations in Europe, and some of the other parts of the world, I think that the traveling public and travel agents are getting more comfortable with the notion that this is going to be more than a 2-month delay. So now most of that business is going into 2021, but there are some very hardy travelers and some groups that can't change their dates that are, still focused on going in the late third quarter or fourth quarter of 2020. But for the most part, this is going to be a 2021 recovery, and 2020 will be really focused on the people who are the fastest to come back and really want to get to traveling.
Well, also, for those who end up going in the third or fourth quarter, they're probably going to find that it's a pretty empty of tourists. I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of people, and that's actually, in my mind, sometimes a good thing. Not for business-wise, but certainly it's a different kind of Ireland to experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's, one of the things that we know about Ireland and the UK is that they have also the governments have already issued 5-phase plans and very stepped approaches that are taking into account science and public health. So they are looking at a stepped reopening, and we are looking at tours around that same principle that, of course, there has to be, some basic things have to be in place for anybody to travel, whether it's 2020, 2021. First of all, there have to be experiences in the destination that are the experiences they wanted to have when they went, or if something isn't available because of changes due to the crisis, alternatives have to be available. And that's where the cleverness and the creativity of our product development team come into play, and our operations team. But that's number one. And number two is people have to feel safe getting there. I think you were mentioning another time, is airline access is incredibly important for island destinations. So Ireland and Britain have got to, address the U.S. market with some kind of security and consistency of what the air access will be, and will it feel safe to go through an airport. So those are very important issues, all of which the tourism voices are very active in North America and the United States, and in our destinations as well.
Well, you mentioned, what is the situation in Ireland and your other destinations right now? Are they all under lockdown still, or you said there's a phased approach in Ireland and other places in Britain? What is going on over there now, and is there any idea of when the government will allow a lot of these things to open, such as restaurants, hotels, bars, attractions, Irish castles, those kind of things?
Yes, we are waiting for all of those. But yes, there's some structure to it. So the answer is that yes, they are in lockdown and have been for a while, until they could see that the public health issues started to stabilize. And to prevent further resurgence, public health and safety remains a very top priority, not only of the government, but of the tourism trade. So I can give you, the structures on the Republic of Ireland government just launched a 5-phase plan to gradually ease the restrictions. That plan, phase 1 is this week, is when it starts. That is on a rolling basis going all the way through August, with each step being measured against public health benchmarks. So there's a 3-week stage in between each. But I think most importantly, which are the pieces that are tourism related? That's what we're looking for. And we know that Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and also, by the way, Northern Ireland has also issued a 5-step plan that starts this week. So they are working under, although Northern Ireland clearly is aligned with the UK government, there is a consistency here around concept. So within the Republic of Ireland, the castles, the attractions, what we are seeing is that as early as this week, many outdoor tourism sites are able to start reopening on a limited capacity basis.
That's great.
Yeah, it's good news. Non-contact sports and sports events, low attendance. We're not back to big events yet, but things like non-contact sports like golf and fishing are now available as of this week. But again, social distancing, public health behaviors like masks and washing hands and sanitizing will be not only part of the picture during the 5 phases, but I am sure far into the future, those will be part of the picture. In June, we start to see cafes and restaurants in Ireland able to reopen, again, possibly on a limited capacity, but that's the start. They have to open, they have to start to gauge the interest. And we as tour operators clearly are watching how restaurants are going to, be available, and how we can participate in bringing people there at some point. In July, hotels, hostels, museums, and galleries, of course, those are very, very important for tour business. And again, even if they're opening on limited capacity in the early stages, if they open in July at, say, these numbers are not yet fully secured, but let's say they open at 25 or 40% capacity. The goal is make sure it's safe, and then over time start to increase that. And then lastly, in August, it's Ireland, so we're waiting for the pubs and the bars.
I was about to rescue you. I said, boy, you mentioned restaurants and hotels, but I'm waiting for the pubs, the bars,
We were reading the list when this came out, going like, bars, where's the pubs? But in all seriousness, like, that is a huge part of the social economy of Ireland. And I think that is a benchmark that everybody the world over who loves Ireland or is dreaming of their Ireland vacation will be very happy to have the pubs and bars open. So I think the takeaway from this is that festivals, sporting events, they're on this phased approach. There will be lower capacity as businesses start to right-size themselves for how many people they can take. I think what we're all agreed in many destinations, not just Ireland and Britain, but it will surely apply there, is that in the very early summer stages, domestic tourism is really going to be more of the toe in the water. So international tourism is probably something that we're looking at after August on any grand scale, although, as I said, there are individuals and private groups and smaller tours that might be able to go earlier.
No, absolutely. And as we were talking earlier, I said, Ireland really is only about a 6-hour flight away. It's almost like you could go to LA or something, so you're kind of a domestic destination in a way, right?
Yeah. And I think, we're very heartened as well because we work very closely not only with Tourism Ireland, the government of Ireland, we're owned by the government of Ireland, but we have been felt very secure that Ireland as a whole and the island of Ireland is taking this very seriously because they understand that the resurgence of tourism relies on visitors feeling safe, but it also relies on the local communities feeling safe, that it's okay for visitors to come into the community without a public health risk. So we fully support a phased approach. And as much as we would love our tours to be running tomorrow, we have realities to deal with, and safety of our customers, our travelers, our staff, our field staff, and the partners we work with at all the hotels, attractions. It's important. So we're going to follow these timelines. We're going to, do everything we can to support a successful reemergence and reopening.
Well, and I didn't mention some of your other destinations there, which you introduced just within the last year or so. Iceland and I believe Italy. I think that was the other one.
Yes, Iceland and Italy, and in fact, we're definitely going to still be operating those when the COVID crisis starts to get into a more steady state of understanding how to run tourism. But Iceland has already announced that it has its tourism reopening plan, which was very exciting. Again, phased approach and looking at where the tourists are coming from, how they're going to be able to stay safe when they get there, and how the locals can stay safe as well. And Italy is starting to, miraculously, I think we all breathe a sigh of relief because we know Italy has been hit very hard. But you imagine for the local people who work in tourism, for the locals who depend on that economy, it has been brutal as it has been in many, many places, including the United States. So it is very heartening to see that Italy is starting to reopen some of its key tourism spots. Again, with the same parameters of safety, social distancing, and we're going to all have to get used to that and participate in that. But it does mean travel will begin again. We just need to do it very smartly.
No, and I'm hearing the same news from Italy that you are, and it's surprising given the ferocity of the coronavirus in that country that they are coming back. Seem to be coming back even quicker than we are here in the U.S. in a way, which is all good news. And of course, Italy is such an important and wonderful destination. And when you added it, I thought it was a great move because, those combinations you can offer now are astounding, really amazing. Now, let's talk a little bit about how you're working with travel advisors here in the U.S. and how are you helping them to communicating with them and helping them get ready eventually to book CIE tours, Ireland, and all its other products?
Yeah, well, first of all, we just are so thankful that the travel agent community that we work with in the U.S. travel agent community is such a well-seasoned community and very knowledgeable. And unfortunately for all of us to say, there have been a lot of crises in this industry, and I think there's a lot of professionalism. So first of all, we've been very successful with our agents' help to rebook many passengers, to help soothe over the disruption of travel that was delayed, to help people with their cancellations. And we know that agents are managing extensive uncertainty right now, that this is something where peace of mind is absolutely important. So just to make sure that we are addressing and early on to provide some peace of mind, we made it available to all of our agents to rebook their clients' 2020 travel in 2021 without penalties or upcharges. So that if somebody, even if we haven't quite gotten out yet to proactively talk to the people in November and December, we made it available to them and posted on our website that they can contact us, and we will work with them to rebook that business as smoothly and penalty-free as they need. So our agents need that flexibility for their customers, and there are many customers that may need just more time and are not ready to travel even later in 2020. So as I said, most of it is going into 2021. So even if we do have tours that are operational in the Q3 and Q4, they still have the option to say, we may not want to travel. So that's okay. We're doing that. That's not a problem. So we're working with our agents nonstop. And as I said, we're making sure our contact center and our BDMs are fully out in the field. Our contact center is fully staffed so we can get people on the phones. We've been really quick to answer the phones. We don't have a lot of hold times because we're trying to make sure that that the agent can fix the issue with their current travel and they can move on to the next booking without having to spend too much time on it. So that has been great, and it's been very well received by our agents, and so far that's going very smoothly.
No, that's great. And what about new bookings? Are you seeing any bookings for either later this year or obviously for 2021?
I am so excited to say that we absolutely are. I can tell you there's been some weeks during this situation where I would not have been surprised to have 0, 0, 0 on new bookings, but we actually are getting new bookings for next year. Now, they're very small numbers. It's not by any means quote unquote normal booking patterns, but it is an indication that people are looking ahead and going, I'm going to travel. I'm just waiting this out. So we have gotten, I think in the last week, we got 22 new group quotes coming in for 2021. I mean, it's amazing. Plus, we are getting people to the contact center and on our website that are browsing and looking at even 2020 dates. But new bookings are coming in. And with the collaboration with our travel agents and the rebooking, the ease of rebooking that we've allowed people to do by just proactively reaching out to us and rebooking, we've also moved a whole book of business into 2021 so that while the agents wait this out with us, there is a book of business to get them started for next year. So between those two things, we actually do feel like 2021 is going to be a very viable recovery year. I think, we mentioned, this industry has been through a lot of crises that disrupt global tourism in many different ways. This is different, and yet it's still that there is desire for travel out there. There are people who are going to travel as soon as the travel restrictions are down. They're going to be ready to go, and we are there for them, and we are equipping our agents to be there for them.
Now, in terms of equipping agents, I mean, obviously everybody says this is a good time for travel advisors to retool, to train, to educate themselves on destinations. Are you offering any new or reemphasizing existing programs in terms of webinars, training, incentives, et cetera?
Yeah, we are. So we're taking this time to kind of get our BDMs wrapped around what are the needs of our travel agent clients right now for training. So one of the biggest things, and I think a lot of companies are going to see this, is we are already seeing, as I mentioned, that there is movement in group bookings. So we are launching an educational webinar that's outlining tips and tools for how to get your clients to pick their tours and their group bookings right now. So there will be training on the group side, and our BDMs are available out in the field to help the travel agents with that, plus the webinars that we are launching. So that's number one. The second thing is we do see that there will be some shifts, not necessarily shifts, but it's just as the moment requires, different products will fly off the shelves before other products. And I do believe that we're going to see that not only groups will be one of the first to come back because of the safety and security of traveling with a group of people that you know, but also private driver. That's going to be a really big hit. I've
actually done your private driver years ago, CIE tours. I went all over to the Cliffs of Moher and did, it was wonderful. A private guide and driver. It's an excellent way to go.
It is. It's an amazing product, but that will be, I think, what will be ease people back into traveling is that they can pay a little more. It's a more luxurious product, but it also will feel safe. It'll feel secure, and it will help get people back out who might not be ready to go, to a packed airplane, and they may just want to make sure that they can have the space to themselves. And private driver is absolutely available for that. So custom groups, private driver, and small group tours. We already know that when people are calling, there's a lot of interest in the small group tours that we've been offering them for a while, but they've always been kind of a smaller part of our inventory, but those will be a much bigger part of our inventory for 2020 in the third and fourth quarter and in 2021.
No, that's fantastic. And so you are, one of my questions that I just missed was that how are you retooling your product line? And obviously putting new emphasis on the private tours, private drivers is a good thing, at least for this year.
Yeah. And one thing that we're not retooling because it's already been part of our value proposition, but you're familiar with it, but it's really important for CIE Tours because it's unique to us, is we will continue to be a fully inclusive product. I think that in this recovery market, that's going to be very important to travel agents. It's also going to be very important to the traveling client. They don't need to pick and choose what they feel safe doing. Everything is vetted. It's included. We are working with all those suppliers together to make sure it's a seamless, safe, sanitized experience that people will be able to travel and have everything included without worrying about, should I do that? Is that safe? Is that a place I want to go? Will there be too many people? We will take care of that for them, and they will know exactly what they're getting, and it will all be included in the price. And the travel agent will make commission on all of it up front. We don't sell optional extras. We never did before, and we're not going to start now.
No, that's great news. And of course, when they start to get comfortable back going to the Irish bars, then we'll know everything's okay, right?
I don't think it'll take too long to get comfortable going back to the Irish bars. Once we can get them there, that'll be like, welcome home, everybody. Everyone's going to be very happy. So I think the product, I think we'll see those patterns in the product. And while our signature tours will be more on the small group side, I do think that this is a trajectory back to a recovery. There will be tours in the future. I know there's a lot of people asking questions like, oh, is it the end of the tour? It's absolutely not. People love tours. People love traveling and sharing experiences. It's just that there's going to be parameters for the next foreseeable future that they want to make sure they feel safe while they're doing it.
Now, of course,
we're confident the recovery is coming, and we're confident that it will be safe, and we will make that safe with our partners.
Now, one thing we didn't touch on is obviously with the financial crisis that is resulting from this is that some tour operators are possibly a little bit more on the edge, and we may sadly see some failures, although we all hope not. Of course, that's not a problem for you since you're backed by the Irish government. So
yeah, well, it's look, I mean, we are so empathetic to the entire industry, and it's not that it's, we certainly are going to have to tighten our belt for a while like everybody, but you are absolutely right. Look, our business is primarily travel agent, and one of the things that the travel agent community, those that are savvy, they know. We are owned by the government of Ireland. We are incredibly stable. We've been around. We're here since 1932. We have weathered World War II. We have weathered polio epidemic. We have weathered everything through, Korean War. We've weathered, foot and mouth disease. We've weathered anything that has happened, 9/11. We have gotten through it. And the one thing that we know from CIE Tours history is that the company has reemerged after behaving in a way that's smart, conservative, and stable. We get through and we regroup and we grow on the other side. We adapt. We also try to reimagine what we're doing and make sure that it's what the customers need and what the customers want. But this company is incredibly stable. We have full support of the Irish government, and we do have full support of our partners over in Ireland because we are the largest partner from North America into Ireland. We're the largest from North America into Scotland. We are the company that people want to work with because we have been stable, we are there, and we act smartly. So I think what we really want is we want travel agents to remember that we are primarily here because of you, and we will be here because of you. We will be here for you. That is what we're going to do. We are here for the long term.
Well, that's a great closing message, but I have to ask you if there's any other messages you want to get out to our 100,000 travel advisors out there that we haven't covered?
I think the one thing we want to close with is always to remember that our goal, no matter what, is to, whether it's crisis or post-crisis, our goal is customer service, safety of you and your travelers, and the security that people know that they are getting a great experience at a great value. And that value and that safety are going to be more important than ever when people get out and the travel restrictions are lifted. So CIE Tours is 100% dedicated to that. And our book of business for the future is a testament to that with the agents. We are building 2021, and we anticipate that that will be the year that we can all stabilize and get back on the track to growth.
Elizabeth, thank you very much for taking the time to fill us in on what's going on with CIE Tours during this crisis. And you delivered a fairly optimistic message, obviously, for later this year and for most likely for 2021. I know Ireland is definitely on my bucket list to get back to. I've traveled with you a couple of times, and you have a great product, and it really is something that people can enjoy, and the combination of history, nature, tradition is just, it can't be beat. And we're looking forward to getting back on track with Ireland and the rest of your destinations this year and into next. Thank you so much for spending the time with us.
Thank you, James. Always a pleasure. We really appreciate it.
I'm James Shillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.